Tobacco District LLC. It took me a while to figure out that that wasn't an actual district.
Good start in about 1 minute.
Boy, we were yucky last time. She didn't even eat Christmas.
Say Wilson's name all over it.
No, he's not on there much last time. But I will say that it was Mr. Walden, Mrs. Clark.
Yeah.
Takes all these pictures. I never see this in the paper anymore.
That's what I would mean. It's in the paper. Were you? Weren't you in the paper?
No.
Was it you in the paper? Somebody was.
No, I think it was one of the students.
The March 19, 2015 Planning Commission meeting is now called to order. We welcome everybody to the meeting today. The Planning Commission is an advisory board to the Danville City Council and is comprised of members who serve on a voluntary basis. Today we have one item to consider, which there'll be a public hearing on. Anyone wishing to speak for or against the item may do so at that time. And after the public hearing, commissioner members may have questions for staff or those who have spoken for or against the requested change. The Planning Commission will review the case relative to the City of Danville Code and make a recommendation to forward to City Council, which will have their meeting on these items on April 21st. And so if we could have a roll, Ms. Hairston.
Mr. Scarce?
Here.
Mr. Dodson?
Present.
Mr. Garrison?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Mrs. Evans?
Here.
Mr. Bolton?
Here.
Okay, the first item and only item on the agenda today for public hearing is rezoning application PLRZ 2015-000058, filed by Danville Tobacco District LLC, requesting to amend the year 2020 land use plan from USR Urban Single Family to CS Community Service and to rezone from OTR Old Town Residential to conditional HRC Highway Retail Commercial District, property at 425 Hughes Street. The applicant is proposing to rezone the property to allow for an office and commercial uses. So we have the staff report, please.
This property is developed with a brick and metal structure with limited paved parking that has been used for various commercial type operations in the past. The last use was an office and training facility for disabled adults, but has been vacant for a number of years. The applicant is proposing to rezone the property to conditional HRC Highway Retail Commercial. The conditions proffered are very similar to those of 503 Hughes Street, which housed the Habitat for Humanity offices and Restore. That property was rezoned to commercial HRC in 2009. The conditions proffered allow for office type and some limited commercial uses while eliminating the uses that could be most detrimental to the adjacent residential neighborhood. There were 34 notices sent to surrounding property owners. 7 responses were received, 5 unopposed, 2 opposed. Full report is in front of you. Staff recommends approval of rezoning application PLRZ 2015-000058, filed by Danville Tobacco District LLC, requesting to amend the year 2020 land use plan from urban single family to community service and to rezone from OTR Old Town Residential to conditional HRC Highway Retail Commercial. The staff recommends approval of the request, subject to the proposed proffered list presented by the applicant with staff consultation. This list is almost identical to that of the adjacent property that housed Habitat for Humanity and the Restore. That use did not present any known issues within the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. I'll open the public hearing now. If does anyone wish to come and speak on this item?
Good afternoon. I'm Randy Gentry, and I'm here on behalf of the Danville
Tobacco District LLC, and I'm here to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Any questions? Yes, Mr. Young?
Half of that lot is vacant. Is there
That's correct.
any idea what you're going to do with that vacant lot? Are you going to expand?
Not at the moment. That ever who could potentially lease that building would also have access to that lot,
Okay.
but no plans at this time.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant?
I have a question of staff.
Okay.
Are the uses that we have listed here, are any of those going to require that the other half of that lot be paved?
Not the entire lot. There will be additional parking that will be necessary, so some of that lot will need to be expanded upon, but not the entire portion of it, no.
Okay.
If it were used for some of the allowances here, correct?
Correct.
Like places of worship or microbrewery or something?
Depending on what the final use is, they may be required to provide some additional parking. And that's one of the things, that site has space available to expand. There's also some pavement on the one side of the building as well as limited on the other side. They could potentially just add a strip maybe and do some angled parking. There are a couple options available for that site.
Okay.
At this point, we don't have any plans for anything except the folks who want to go in that building, and that's very limited on what they would need.
Any other questions?
I have a question. Would you pave it, or would you use the other, whatever the state wants us to use? I don't exactly know what it's called.
Remote offsite or
No, the type of
Oh.
surface.
the pervious pavers or some other
Yes.
material? Depending on what goes in there, we have a couple options available. They could ask to come back based on the size of the lot and ask for some pervious pavement. As a side note, we're going to talk about that later on under the other business. So that right now they would probably need some additional parking, and again, maybe a small area to, I guess, it'd be the west side where the lot circles around now. Not enough to cover the entire grassed area, which encompasses that large portion to the west, depending on what Planning Commission decides later on. A little bit of paving is probably going to be necessary, but not the whole thing.
Any others? Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and see if we have a motion. Someone like to recommend a motion on this? Mr. Bowden?
Move recommend approval of rezoning application PLRZ 2015-000058 with conditions per staff.
Okay,
Second.
yeah, in a second. If we could have a roll, please.
Mr. Bolton?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Scares?
Yes.
Mr. Garrison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Okay, that'll go to the City Council for that next meeting. Okay, thank you. Okay, next item is approval of the minutes for the February 9th meeting. Any additions or changes or corrections? If not, we have a motion they be approved.
So moved.
So moved. Do we have a second? Second. I'll just do a voice. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Under other business.
Yeah, just noticed the other business portion's not listed on the agenda. We're not sure what happened to that.
I got
It's
you on
always-
mine.
It's always there, but it's not. A few things. I sent out an email to everyone today regarding an upcoming Certified Planning Commissioners course. If you get a chance, please check your email if you're interested in attending that course. I do have money budgeted to send a few of you to get some additional training. So you've got some time. I have to notify them, I think, by April 10th. So please check the dates. If anyone's interested, just contact me and we'll set you up for that. What we just were saying, I was going to talk to you about the parking requirements. If anyone's noticed with the changes in Virginia stormwater management regulations, they're trying to push for a reduced amount of off-street parking as well as additional materials to be used as opposed to your standard asphalt and concrete. So staff is going to be looking at possibly doing some work under our off-street parking requirements and bring that to you in the next few months. So I want to give you a heads up. If you're out somewhere and you notice in your travels any good ideas, good parking lot designs, anything else that you see, if you gather that information and bring it back, where you were at, if you're at the beach somewhere or something, take a quick photo with your smartphone and send it to me so I know, and roughly where you were at, so I can try to basically get some information from other localities on what they do, even in other states. We're looking as broad as we can, so we're probably going to be doing some major rewriting to our parking requirements.
This is to make it less restrictive.
We think we're over parking based on the new state regulations. So you look out there and a lot of times you see big parking lots that are empty.
Sure.
Now, that's not always our requirement. Sometimes it's the store themselves that wants those numbers.
Right.
We're looking at maybe even putting a maximum number. Right now we don't have a maximum, and a store can come in and say, I want 400 parking spaces when they don't necessarily need it. So we may do some changes like that. So if you see anything, you have any good ideas, bring that to us, please.
Okay. Anything else from staff?
That's all we have at the time. We do have cases for next month, so plan on being here then.
Okay. Anything from the commissioners?
Do we have an outcome on what we did last time yet?
The
Stewart
Stewart Street, no, that goes on March 17th.
Okay.
So I don't have a report on that yet.
Okay. That being all of our business, we stand adjourned.